We're here at Europe's largest market, Riga's central market that is just behind us.
Yeah, it's really interesting. They actually were originally hangars for the Zeppelin balloons. They were left over after World War I by the Germans and they were relocated here. It was quite a big task, I think, to relocate them, but they're now used as markets. And each one of the 5 hangars has a different theme. So I think one is like a fish market, one is a meat market with other produce, etc. like that. But let's go and have a look at them and see what they are. We've walked over to the last hangar or market, but it appears that everything's shut up at the moment. They should be open, as opening times are 7:30. But yeah, the doors are like blocked, so I'm not sure if it's been closed for a while. But there's plenty of market stalls outside, and we're going to walk over to the first couple of ones. Maybe they're open, as it is such a large surface area. Perhaps you don't need all of the markets open. But let's see if any of them are open. So it appears all 5 hangars are closed today and maybe for the rest of the week.
Or if not longer, because some of them definitely looked like they were blocked up for good. Some of them said that they were having, like, one of them said they were having a cleaning day and you could see cleaners cleaning it. And then this one I think is the meat one, and that looks like it's being cleaned as well. But it seems like all of the fruit and veg stalls have kind of set up shop outside. But you can just about see in here that it was a hangar, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, you can just about see through that. A little bit through there. Which one shall I go? That one?
That one.
There we go, there's the hangar ceiling.
Which was incredible, and each one of these like hangars is the size of a football field.
Yeah, they're absolutely massive.
They're huge.
So when they are open, there must be plenty of produce. But maybe it's good that they have a clean day.
Yeah,
maybe today is their clean day.
No problem with that at all. I think now we'll head into the old town of Riga.
Okay, but there are some markets outside that we can wander through. And it seems like people are literally selling things from their garden. Like there's a few tables that have just got a few garlics and a few onions and things.
Yeah, and they seem to have a lot of wild shiitake mushrooms, which for us is the most expensive mushroom that you can possibly buy. And here it seems like it's the equivalent of the button mushroom, which is the cheapest one.
Seems the main way people get around the city is with the trams and also with the Lime or the Bolt scooters. Seem really popular, don't they?
They are, yeah. You can actually see more people on the Lime than in cars.
We've used them twice today already, and they're really handy because, yeah, we did like 2 kilometers on the last trip. I think it cost around about 60 cents. So it's a really easy, quick way of nipping around the city.
And a lot of the cool coffee shops like Carvery were in are outside of the old town because it's so expensive for rental in the actual old town. So all of the cool bars are all outside. So if you can get a Lime out and then wander back in, you get to see the architecture as well as save a bit of time. True.
And you're never that far away from one, for example. We're just about to pass one there.
But we're just walking into Old Town now. I think we need to go this way.
We've been walking through Old Town and St. John's Church is there, just nestled between that restaurant there. Do you have any facts on this one, Em?
Yeah, we do actually. It was built in 1234, but one of the reasons why it's so famous is because of a popular folklore regarding 2 monks who lived in Riga in the 15th century. The story goes that in order to attain sainthood, the monks chose to seal themselves into the church southern wall, where they ultimately perished, which is a terrible tale. However, the architecture on the church is quite fascinating.
Nearby is the Bremen musician statue. This is based on the fairy tale from the Brothers Grimm stories. And just behind there is St. Peter's Church, and this has been rebuilt twice. It's had quite a hard life. In the Second World War, it was completely decimated, but has been rebuilt again. The monument behind me is slightly controversial here in the city, as it was built in 1970 during the Soviet Union times. It depicts the efforts from the Latvian people that were part of the Soviet army that defended the city against German attack in 1915. It's been more recently renamed the Latvian Rifleman statue and stands here right in this square. So breakfast places didn't open until what, 10?
10, yeah, most of them.
So we're going to head to breakfast now, which is a little bit further away from where we are, as we need to head in the direction of the KGB museum, as we have a tour booked for 12 o'clock for that one.
12 o'clock, yeah, at the corner house.
Yeah, it's important you pre-book your tours because it does sell out. So yeah, it's quite a popular museum.
Yeah, and there's not many English-speaking tours, so we booked last night and we're lucky to get 2 tickets to see it, and I'm really excited about this. But I'm starving, so let's head on a Bolt and go to breakfast.
Taking our preferred mode of transport for the city. There's no unlock fee for these, is there?
No unlock fee, which is awesome.
So you could just hop on and hop off.
Oh, this one's not got much charge though, so let's go on another one. So we very quickly zipped our way to a place called Mazā Terapija, which is a plant-based breakfast place. So we can have a quick breakfast and then head over to our museum slot for our tour. But look at this place, how cool is it? Sean's just there waiting for his second coffee of the day.
It's a nice restaurant, this one. The menu looks great.
Really good.
Food has arrived and it looks like we're eating well for breakfast this morning. Look at that.
It looks so good. We've got potatoes, tofu scramble, a salad, grilled tomato sausages and mushrooms. So I think, and we're loving this city's food scene so far. This is definitely the perfect way to start the day.
In our last video, we were in the bunker and it was all about the secrets and information that was being fed to that bunker. And the tour guide yesterday mentioned one of the main sources of information came from the KGB. Behind us here is the former headquarters of the KGB and is currently the Museum of the Occupation of Latvia with an exposition of the KGB. So we're going to head in there now for our tour, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm a bit like about it, but let's go.
About this. All right, let's go inside. So the actual building was built in 1912 and was for normal uses of grocery stores, apartments and businesses. And the entrance here has the original tiles and infinity mirrors and hasn't changed since it was built. Now we're heading into the actual prison part. So people were normally arrested at night, brought in this courtyard and into the registration room here, which photos of the people that were arrested were documented. But it's interesting, this room was turned into a police station after Latvia gained its independence in 1982. This was the interrogation room, so after registration they'd be brought in here to sign the papers as a confession to their alleged crimes. And what the guide was saying is that you pretty much had to sign, and they would, through violence, force a signature, and you would be in here until you signed, and then you would be sent off to the prison, or to be executed, or to even the gulags in Siberia. But pretty grim time. And there was even an observation room where people could stand in and watch the interrogation go on. Some of the cells are really tiny. This is one of the larger cells here in the prison. Up to 30 people could be held here at any time. Up to 7 months, I think, was the longest someone was here, until they signed those papers and then they were moved on. But the temperature here apparently was kept at a constant 35 degrees, very little food. They even had carpets on the outside so the guards could sneak up and listen into conversations.
Here we are in the little courtyard that they used to exercise in. By exercise, I mean they got 5 minutes a day out here. It's yeah, it's not a nice place.
The prisoners would be woken up at 6 a.m. and given 5 minutes of exercise in this courtyard, where the prison guards would be watching them from the top, and they'd be patrolled round in a circle for 5 minutes and then they'd be put back into their cells. This was the kitchen used solely to prepare the prisoners' food. Very basic food apparently, mostly just potatoes and some boiled water apparently. The idea was to keep people's morale as low as possible, but to keep them alive until they signed the papers. Just around the corner to us was the medical room, where they did basic first aid to keep people alive again until they signed the papers. And apparently underneath here is the isolation chamber, where people were put on their own for a long time. In the really cold winters of Latvia, it must have been a horrible place to be. Underneath the basement is a bomb shelter which goes even deeper, but there's no electricity down there and it's not heated and or maintained, so we can't go and visit that one. That was a really harrowing tour, but it helped to give us a lot of insights into the history of Latvia and what hardships the people have been through here over the past century. To be occupied first by the Soviets, then by the Nazis, and then again by the Soviets. It's unimaginable, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a tough tour. The last couple of rooms were really hard to even be in, and even hard to listen to what the guide was talking about. It's a very emotional topic, but it really, as you said, Sean, it helped us understand a lot more about these Baltic states. And head on now.
He did highlight that the numbers that was just affected Latvia alone was pretty huge, but then you imagine all of the other affected countries. But yeah, it's certainly worth checking that museum and exhibition out. I think it's free if you want to just walk around the exhibition and see that, but if you want to do a tour of the cells and hear a little bit more information, then you need to book that tour in advance.
So we're going to head to the Art Nouveau district now, maybe grab a drink along the way and really think about what we've just learnt. We are currently walking through the Art Nouveau district, also known as the Quiet district here, and the reason you come to this area of Riga is for the incredible Art Nouveau architecture that's been crafted onto some of these apartment buildings. It's not anywhere in the world that you can actually see so many different types of Art Nouveau architecture as you walk through the streets. Just from the beautiful Art Nouveau facades on the street, you have another side of the city through here. It's a really interesting place, isn't it?
It is. The facades are beautiful. I'm sure the apartments are too, but I think maybe these communal areas in the middle have been neglected a little bit. We're near the river, and just behind us there is the castle, which is the current residence of the President of Latvia. But it is really noisy down here as there is a main road running just behind it. So we're going to head back into Old Town now.
The Three Brothers are one of Riga's top attractions. Legend has it that descendants from the same family built the three buildings, and you can see a distinct change in architecture, from the white one being from the 15th century all the way to this green one being from the 18th.
This is the Swedish archway, which is a relatively simple archway built in the 17th century. It is the only remaining gate of the city. There used to be 8, and now there's only 1 that remains here. As you walk through the Swedish gate, you're greeted with the Swedish barracks, aptly painted in yellow there. These also date back to the 17th century and house the Swedish soldiers that were garrisoned here. And opposite there is one of the oldest sections and remaining of the city wall. This tower sits on 14th century foundations and is one of the last towers in the city. It was one of 18 towers that used to guard the city. It was aptly named the Powder Tower, as this is where the gunpowder was stored in later years.
So inside this square we have the Great Guild over here, and on the other side we have the Small Guild. Definitely two worthy stops on your walking tour of Riga.
The Freedom Monument behind me, which is just past the main city centre street there, commemorates the soldiers that died in the Latvian War of Independence that took place in 1918 to 1920, when the Latvian soldiers threw out their Russian occupiers and regained freedom for the city. Just behind us is the Occupation Museum, and opposite that is the House of the Blackheads.
Yeah, it was originally built in 1334, and I think it's one of the most beautiful buildings here in...
I think you might be right there, Em, but this isn't actually the original. The original was destroyed in the Second World War, but they did have the blueprints to rebuild it exactly. And they finished construction in 2001.
It's dinner time and we have come to Cozy Eats and ordered something for dinner. I have gone for the soy wrap. We have loaded fries and Sean went for the burrito. I also grabbed a kombucha, which is probably my favourite soft drink. We're going to enjoy this and then head out for the evening.
We're coming towards the end of our day in the Latvian capital of Riga, and I must say I was really pleasantly surprised. I didn't know what to expect when we rode in yesterday, but we've had a really nice day here, haven't we?
It has. It's been a unique place. It's been a lot of emotions and a lot of learning to do here. I've learned a lot about the Latvian culture and the Latvian history, and that's been a nice thing to see, as well as just enjoying the city. It's absolutely beautiful. It's got some rough edges, but they are refining them, and I've really enjoyed just wandering around the streets. I think has been my favourite part.
Yeah, I don't think you can get bored about wandering around the streets here. There's so many different quarters and areas to see here. So yeah, all in all, definitely come back here someday.
Yeah, we would.
And for tomorrow, we're going to continue our motorcycle tour and we'll be heading south again to Lithuania. Is that right, Sam?
Yeah, that's the plan for tomorrow. So we'll see you all in the next episode as we start to make our way to Lithuania.